Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time may be when you're watching this particular video. Welcome to another session of the Festival in the Box 2.0. In this session, I will be speaking to Mark Westmorland from Wolfburn Distillery. Very much looking forward to this. I shall bring him in just now. Mark, how are you doing?
Fine and dandy, Eddie, yourself?
I'm doing okay. I think I'm becoming so familiar with you that I'm just calling you Westmorland rather than giving it your actual given name.
I've been called a lot worse, so don't let that bother you whatsoever. I'll answer to anything, especially if somebody's got a glass of whiskey in their hand. You know, it's like the old Bovril advert. I'll sniff it and I'll come running.
Good man, good man. And where are you today?
Sunny Stirling in Scotland. My base. This is my Wolfburn studio, as you say. Any time you come to me, you know I'm going to be bang on brand. So it's so handy to be able to join you from the comfort of my own home.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I've just poured myself.
Yeah, good idea. That should be my message alert from my phone. That cork coming off that bottle.
Yeah, it's a good sound, isn't it? It's a good sound. But Mark, obviously, I know you, and I've come to know you quite well the last couple of years. But some of the guys and gals at home may not be aware of yourself, so I'm going to let you just introduce yourself, and then we can get on with the important business of tasting.
Brilliant. Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, Mark Westmorland, Global Brand Ambassador for Wolfburn Whiskey. Just a wee lad from the Highlands, but where the distillery is, in Thurso, the most northerly town on the British mainland, that's my birthplace. I was born and bred there, and that's why I got involved in the distillery. I got asked in 2016 to help out with shows and festivals in the UK, and then it snowballed from there. And in 2018, became the Global Brand Ambassador, which means that I present Wolfburn on a global stage, and it's an absolute pleasure to do so and support events like this, as well as Festival in the Box and with the Whisky Lounge in Eddie. This is a great medium for us to get our spirit, to get our liquid to the lips, as I say.
Very kind of you to say so, sir. The tenner's in the post. Good stuff. Well, obviously we're here to talk the good stuff, and you've provided us with some more good stuff. So why don't you tell us a bit about the bottling that you've chosen for the Festival in the Box 2.0?
Yeah, this is our little Aurora miniature that we provided. A nice 50 centilitres there, so a nice dram, or a nice couple of drams for you and your favourite. And this was our release in 2016. This was our second release for the Wolfburn core range. And the Aurora is a mix of first fill bourbon casks and second fill sherry hoggies, Oloroso sherry hoggies as well. Our first expression was a non-peated, and we've used the same non-peated spirit for this one. It's 46%, non-chill filtered, no added colouring. That's exactly what we do at Wolfburn, and everything that we do, it's hand bottled, and everything is stored on site in traditional dunnage warehouses at the distillery. But yeah, the Aurora, slams for everybody for a new taste and flavour.
Slandivar. And what's your feeling on adding water to whiskey, Mark?
I do it on a regular basis, especially if I'm trying whiskies. The fact that it's 46%, you know, it's quite a high ABV. So I always tell people, experiment with whiskey. That's the best thing you can do. Their own flavours, their own taste. If you get a new whiskey, I always drink it neat, but then lovely pipettes or even a straw, you know, just drop a couple of drops of water in, take a swirl, have a taste to see if it excites or does something different from you, or opens up on the nose. So it's about being confident with that whiskey in your glass and just being experimental, because that's half the fun at the end of the day, Eddie, isn't it? You want to have a fun with a glass of whiskey.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm going to add a little bit of my lark fire to this.
Yeah, lark fire, yeah.
Having tasted it already at full strength.
Well, for me, you know, the Aurora, because it's our sherry oak expression, you're getting that lovely sort of fruity, spicy dryness I get. Although there's quite an oiliness on the palate. I get a bit of white pepper. I get a bit of spice. It's quite bitter, not in a bad sense. Bitter as in like dark chocolate or coffee as well, which I really like. Yeah. But it's fresh. It draws the cheeks in and it smacks the lips as well. Yeah. Got that lovely sort of sumptuous fruitiness to it as well.
I think it's because it's for me it's a kind of grapefruity citrusness, which kind of really makes, like you say, it draws the cheeks in.
There's a cleanness to it as well. And although I've said it's quite oily, it's quite sweet, but there's, again, for me, it's just a lovely, lovely, fresh, clean taste on the palate. And although it sits sort of medium finish, all that encourages you to do is just you pour the next or pour the rest of the little miniature and finish it, because again you're chasing that flavour, that taste. So yeah, it's a good addition to the Festival in the Box, hopefully, and hopefully people will taste that and then come to the brand even more and experiment even more from that.
Well, having now been to the distillery, as I was just a couple of weeks ago,
brilliant.
I can highly recommend it. Had a great tour there, and it's one of those tours that doesn't take too long because it's all in the one place.
That's the best thing about Wolfburn. You tap the door, you walk in the main door, and everything is there. It's got a beautiful flow. So not only does our whiskey flow really, really well, the distillery flows, just the way that it's been laid out. And we were lucky enough, because it's a new build distillery in 2012, you could position everything where it should go. So there's a natural way of working. So it's great for the stillman, the mashman. I'm saying stillman, mashman, and everybody does everything at the distillery. We've only got 5 folk on the stills, and it's beautiful because you can stand there where the tasting table is, and you can survey absolutely everything. It's absolutely stunning.
It's definitely an advantage to have it all in one room like that. So I was going to just ask you if you could just tell us a bit more about the kind of origins of Wolfburn and how it came to be and when it came to be, and
certainly.
And perhaps then we can then talk about production and any quirks and all that kind of thing. But a little bit of background would be good.
Yeah, the original Wolfburn started in 1821, so that's over 200 years ago. So this year is quite a special year for us because it marks the 200th anniversary of the original. The name Wolfburn comes from our water source, the Wolfburn, the small stream or natural spring that rises in the moors. And the old Wolfburn distillery lasted on and off for about sort of 30, 40, 50 years. We don't actually know exactly when. The only records that we have are tax records from about 1826 to say it was the largest producer of whiskey in the Caithness region, and some voters' roll records. So yeah, there's nothing sure in life, and death and taxes as well. But we rebuilt the distillery in 2012. And the great news for us, the Wolfburn, the natural spring was still there, lovely mineral rich, rising in the moors, coming down at the back of a new industrial estate in Thurso. So the owners decided to buy 2 plots of land, and they approached Forsyths of Rothes, and they built our entire distillery from scratch within about 6 months, probably shorter than that. So not only did our stills, our wash still and our spirit still come from Forsyths, but our entire distillery was built from scratch. And as I said earlier on, it's got a beautiful flow to it, because when you're starting with a blank canvas, you want to design it, you want to put things where they should go, rather than having to put them in a certain type of room or a certain type of building. You can be quite creative as well. So we've been producing whiskey for about 8.5 years. We filled our first cask on the 25th of January 2013, a piece of marketing genius. That was Burns Night. So our oldest spirit that we've sort of produced is sitting in our dunnage warehouses on site. And when we go to bottle it, everything is hand bottled. So we import our malted barley, our malted barley, and we do everything ourselves. So it means that we have supreme control over our spirit. And quite OCD, it just means that nobody gets access to it and can do anything wrong. We keep our standards very, very high. We're quite young. We're quite, well, I'm saying quite, but we're fiercely independent. I always like to get that in as well. And it means that we are masters of our own destiny. When you walk into Wolfburn, you look over to the top right, just above the old Caperdonach washbacks that we use for our spring water tank and our effluent tank, we've got a big sign saying "Fortune favours the brave," and it means that you have to put some effort in life, and you'll get rewards. And that's what we're all about at Wolfburn. Let's make a concerted effort to make a North Highland spirit matured on site, a unique fruitiness, the frothiness, the light and the vibrancy as well, and let that go out to the world. Over 36 countries, Eddie, now, and long may it continue. And that's 36 countries for me to visit as the global brand ambassador. So hold yours open when we get back to it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're looking forward to getting back out there.
Yeah, it's been quite testing, but events like these have been absolutely amazing because the reach that you can get without, Wolfburn is relatively unknown still in the UK. So this is a great sounding board for us. So, we wholeheartedly support you and everything that you're doing to get our liquid to the lips, as we said.
Brilliant. Well, it's always appreciated. Yeah, well, as I say, I was at the distillery a couple of weeks ago, and in fact, the bottle your own that was available, if anybody is taking a holiday soon up to Scotland, up to the North Reaches, it's well worth it because there's a 2013 PX cask on the bottle your own. Well, it may have finished by now, but it's certainly worth the journey just for that.
That's what it's for. There's a hole in the top of the bottle for a reason. That's we make the whiskey for folk to enjoy it, and that 8-year-old PX cask is absolutely stunning. So it's a good draw to get folk to make the pilgrimage north to come to Wolfburn. Absolutely.
And I think actually I was chatting with Paul Dempsey from Spey Distillery the other day, and in our session, and I think Wolfburn, if you don't mind me drawing a comparison with Spey, it's the fact that you guys seem to rely quite heavily on the distillate character rather than muddying the waters with too much fresh oak, which I find quite refreshing. You really can taste the actual character off the still rather than just an oakiness.
That's, for me, that's totally right and very important. You want to start with your essence, your initial DNA. You want that to be the best that you can. And if you've had the opportunity, and many people have, but our new make spirit, our cleric, there's a lovely sort of tropical fruit. It's like a banana fritter sometimes for me, or it's like the juice of a tin of pineapples, and that lovely sort of lovely sweet, luscious flavour as well. And if you start on that as your base, your wood management program is just going to add to it as well. And so you have to be proud of your initial spirit, because ultimately that's what you're doing. The consistency of whiskey making is trying to get that the best that you can and doing it day after day after day.
And from memory, from the tour I took, which was quite whistle stop, but nonetheless profound, I think you have quite a long fermentation time. Is that right?
Yeah, anything between sort of 3 and 4 days, like 67 to 92 hours, just about, depending on what day the mash is done. And we're quite small, we're quite proud to say we're a small independent. Why not? But at the moment, we're doing about 8 mashes a week. Throughout the year, we do about 6 or 8, depending on the time of year as well. Last year, because of obvious reasons, we were down on production. We only did about 100,000 litres. So again, the 2020 spirit will be much sought after in years to come because there's hardly any of it. But it's ideal because when you're storing it on site, it means that you can walk up to the warehouses and you can flip the bung and you can get the copper dog and just bring the spirit out and taste it there and then, if there's any special bottles to be done or any special battings to be done as well. And we're super proud that we control everything ourselves. That means that we keep our standards high.
And one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, are there any particular quirks in the production process or anything that you do slightly differently to anyone else, which you think might contribute to the character of Wolfburn?
I was asked the same sort of question at a forum in New Zealand a couple of years ago, and I really scratched my head to try and come up with a definitive answer, because we talk about the terroir of everything from the origins to where to how to why, and I decided I couldn't come out with one unique selling point. Is it our mineral rich water, that lovely Wolfburn? Is it the fact that we're maturing on site and the outside environment is helping to produce that beautiful Wolfburn spirit as well? We're surrounded by gorse and heather. We've got the sea air coming in from the Pentland Firth. As the angel share leaves, the outside environment comes in. Is it the fact that we've got that lot of copper contact in the stills to make it that light, vibrant spirit that we want? Could it be the fermentation time as well, that longer fermentation time to make that beautiful sort of fruity whiskey as well? It's Wolfburn because it's Wolfburn. I can't put the finger on anything specific. For me, I'm totally biased, but people will say it's different because of X or Y or Z, and it depends on what we pick up on. For me, it includes everything that we do. That's the honest answer for me, Eddie.
Well, we always promote honesty, and no, I think it's important. I mean, you've named quite a few things there that would obviously contribute to the eventual character that creates Wolfburn. So I would say you have answered the question. Well done.
I like to spread the deck.
Exactly. Now you obviously you do a peated version as well, which I think we had in our last festival in the box, which was very, very lovely.
The Morven.
The Morven. Now you use peated barley, right, for that?
Yeah, we buy our peated barley in from our maltings with a sort of phenol level of 10 ppm, and we only do a peated run at the distillery usually before the summer shutdown. So it means that then we can clean everything back, and then there isn't really a trace of it in the next run after the summer. But we do use the first batches in our Northland, which is a non-peated spirit matured in ex-Isla casks. So if there's any tincture of smoke, you'd expect that from that run as well. So it's a good way to do it.
It's a clever way to do it. It really is. Yeah, I'm not sure if everyone at home recognizes that to actually do a peated run whatsoever is a real pain in the ass for distilleries that mainly produce unpeated spirit, because that peated malt really stinks the place out, and you've got to really scrub the distilling equipment to death to get it out.
But again, it's very important for us as a producer and for consumers. We want to give people a choice. So whether it's a non-peated, whether it's a sherry dope, whether it's a lightly peated or a cask strength in our core range, we want to give people that opportunity. If they don't like something, they can go to something else and try something different. It's covering your bases, and it means that there's a marketing avenue to different tastes and flavors for the consumer. So again, a sound marketing decision as well. We've got to make the money as well, Eddie. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, it's a very smart way of doing things, because you can essentially say, "Oh, you didn't like that? Well, try this."
Exactly.
Eventually, you'll find something, hopefully, that they'll like.
We're desperate to get our hooks in everybody. World domination. That's what we want. We'll get there eventually.
I know. I totally believe that. So in terms of the future for the distillery and the Wolfburn brand, what are the ambitions, and are there any exciting new projects or expansions or anything in the offing?
Yeah, and again, with a whiskey distillery, you have to plan for the future. So you're looking at your your stock, you're looking at your warehouse space as well. You're looking at maybe expansion on the production side as well. As I said earlier on, we do 6 or 8 mashes a week, depending on the time of year. If we were continue to do 8 mashes a week for the full year, our production would go up 20%, and we wouldn't have to add any other equipment as well. We're building another couple of warehouses. Warehouse number 4 has already been built, and warehouse number 5 will hopefully go up in the summer. So it means that we've got that projection that we keep everything on site, because that's very, very important for us as well. Bottlings wise, we do a small batch every sort of 9 months to 12 months. And this year, hopefully in September, we'll be releasing our next small batch, the 318, which will be a peated sherry expression. And because the original Wolfburn started in 1821, we're toying with the idea of doing a 200th anniversary of the original Wolfburn as well. So again, it's exciting, and as an independent, we can make our own decisions. We don't have a board of shareholders, or we don't answer to our accountant or accountants, although Charles would probably differ. He would probably say we do. But it means that we can experiment. Just as I said earlier on about putting water in whiskey, we like to experiment with different cask maturations, different finishes. Last year we did a port finish, we did a Madeira cask finish as well for our previous small batches. So it's exciting times at Wolfburn, Eddie.
It certainly is, and I love the way that you guys have built the whiskey from the ground up, so to speak. So you've really focused on getting the distillate character absolutely the way you want it to be, and then match it and pair it with sympathetic casks, stuff that isn't going to override
you don't want your wood management program to overwhelm your spirit. You want it to actually proclaim it and raise it to the rafters, and that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, keep doing it.
We will, sir. We will. Thank you.
Regardless of what I say. So just want to ask you a quick question before you finish about the current state of the whiskey industry as a whole, and how do you feel about it? How do you feel about Wolfburn's position in it, and are there any new developments in the wider whiskey world that you're enjoying or looking forward to?
Yeah, we've had to adapt and survive, adapt and overcome, as they say at Wolfburn, because of the sort of last 18 months. The online industry for tastings and events, hopefully that'll continue in a sort of hybrid type production. It'll be great to be back to physical tastings, to do masterclasses, to do shows and festivals. But obviously public safety is number one. I feel quite anal saying that, but it's ingrained, and that's the way it should be as well. On the horizon, I'm looking at some UK shows at the moment. Belgium have said in October, Switzerland have said maybe in November, depending on how the travel goes. Exciting things in the whiskey industry for us. The reduction of the 25% tariff in the USA is exciting time for us, because it means that we can ship 5 or 6 pallets to the States, which is really good. And the fact that they are now accepting 700 milliliter bottles rather than the 750 makes it just that wee bit easier for us as well. Different cask maturations, we've all got rules and regulations, but it'll be interesting to see what other distilleries do and how that affects their distillery character as well. The good thing about Wolfburn, we don't do anything like a fad. We just don't jump on the bandwagon. Our decisions are made for the right reasons for ourselves, nobody else. Obviously the consumer, because we have to produce something that's going to sell. But it's just a case of, let's just take our time, let's get it right, and let's continue the growth year on year, which we're seeing at the moment. So it's a strong position to be in. It's a happy position to be in. And hey, if the bosses are happy and people are getting our spirit and they're enjoying it and they're coming back to us to ask for something different or unusual, we have to listen, and hopefully we'll be able to do it in the future.
More power to you, sir. Well, Mark, that's absolutely brilliant. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm sure that the folks at home will have really enjoyed the Aurora, which they can buy from the distillery shop online, as I flashed up earlier on. But thanks once again to yourself, Mark, and thanks to all the viewers at home. And we'll see you very, very soon. Thank you, Mark, and Slàinte.
Slàinte. Have a good one.
Thank you.